Hello, I'm Jennifer Thomas. I'm an associate professor and journalism sequence coordinator in the Department of Media, Journalism, and Film here at Howard University, which is also my alma mater. Applying to an Ivy League and experiencing an Ivy League for post-grad, for me was a little different because I didn't take the traditional route. I worked in the industry, in the news industry, for a full 20 plus years before I had the wild idea to decide, hey, I want to go back to grad school. It was something that was always on my bucket list. But I graduated from Howard. 2 weeks later, I started my first job in TV news, and I literally worked for more than 20 years without doing anything else. I took a buyout. I was an executive producer at CNN, the first Black executive producer in the newsroom, and I started a media consulting business. But then I kind of had an epiphany, and I think really the Lord spoke to me, and I had an opportunity to apply. So for me, it was really just focusing on what I wanted to do next, taking that leap of faith, and of course I got in. So in journalism, you know, we say that journalism is the first rough draft of history. We're on the front lines just like everyone else, right? Making sure that we defend the public's right to know. My personal mantra is that journalists are the defenders of democracy, freedom fighters of the First Amendment, and savvy and sophisticated storytellers. And for journalists of color, I think we bear the responsibility to put those stories in context and to explain why these stories that affect our communities matter, and to let those who otherwise might not have an opportunity to share their experiences, to let that be known. And we're seeing that now much more with this racial reckoning that we see that's been happening post George Floyd. But I like to think that for those of us who were especially educated at HBCUs, we always have had that compassion and that commitment and that dedication to telling those stories that matter in an ethical way. So for journalists of color, we bear that responsibility, but we should bear it proudly and take that into all the spaces we go to, whether we're working for a Black-owned company, a company that's majority white, or that we have our own businesses. That's part of who we are and what we are called to be, and journalism definitely is a calling. The thing that I enjoy most about my work as a college professor is being able to see the students flourish post-grad. There literally is not a week that goes by that I don't hear from a former student that's either sharing what they're doing in the industry or sharing their appreciation for those lessons that were learned in class. Now, you know, I will often be told that, oh, Professor Thomas, I don't want to take your class because I heard it's tough. I heard that we have to work a lot. I heard you give a lot of homework. I heard you don't accept missed deadlines. And then fast forward to after students graduate, it's like, oh, Professor Thomas, I appreciated you so much because you were tough. You didn't accept late work. And you know what? That's exactly what's expected in the industry. And so just seeing the students successfully transition from classroom to newsroom, control room, boardroom, making their own room, that's what's the most gratifying thing to me. And I literally wake up every day excited about what may come. And that's the mark of knowing that you are in the place that you're supposed to be. I think right now the industry is ever changing, and students need to be on top of what's happening with technology and how to smartly use technology in their profession. I see students, you know, you all are always on those phones, right? Doing your TikTok videos, being influencers. I say be a journalistic influencer. Use those platforms, but use them in a way that advances the journalism field. So many industries now, especially those dealing with news, are looking for young professionals that know how to properly use the tools that everyone uses, but in a journalistic sense. Technology through convergence is ever growing and is ever changing. So stay on top of those trends, what's happening, but make sure you can present those things in a journalistic way. To be a successful media professional, I say you have to be three things. You have to be prepared, you have to be passionate, and you have to be patient. Being prepared is what you do as a student. And that doesn't mean just showing up for class. It means knowing the research, knowing what's happening out there in the communities, taking part in organizations, whether it's an organization here at the university or a national organization. You have to be passionate about the industry. If you're not passionate, you're not going to want to wake up to do what you're doing. And then you have to be patient. A lot of times I find with Gen Z, a lot of times our Gen Zers want something right away. But it takes work, it takes sacrifice, and it takes experience. And so be passionate, be prepared, and be patient, and I think you'll be successful. Well, I would say for students, you know, for journalism, just read and watch all you can. So whether it's reading those traditional publications like New York Times, or whether you're reading or watching Vice, whether you're watching BET or you follow Complex, you know, just be an informed consumer of the news. It's not just about knowing what's happening. Everyone wants to, you know, many journalism students say, I want to do entertainment. But when we think about it, you're still a journalist. You're an entertainment journalist. You're a sports journalist. So know what's going on and join organizations. If you're interested in business, join student organizations. If you're interested in the law, you know, join student organizations or the debate team. I think anyone that's in journalism or PR should be a national member of the National Association of Black Journalists, and especially our Howard University Association of Black Journalists. There's Ida B. Wells Investigative Society for Journalism. There are so many women in media organizations, AEJMC. There Online News Association. There's so many. So I would say kind of look to see what it is that you're interested in doing. Google is your best friend. Google associations. And not just ones that pertain to us as people of color, but in general as well, because you'll find that there are a lot of people that are just looking for people to join their organization, and they don't know if they don't know you. So just be smart about looking up associations, trade magazines, but just be a smart consumer of the news. Aggregate all the news that you can.